So from the integer practice, question number 1 was simple. Punch it in the calculator, get your answer. The trick with question number 2 was that you needed to do this first, the negative 1/4 minus 1/2, and you get negative 3/4. Then divide that by the negative 4/7, and you get 21/16, which equals to 1 5/16. Number 3, another one, just punch in the calculator. Truly as simple as that. Question number 4, the trick is that you have to do 2/3 minus 5/6 first and get negative 1/6, and then divide that by 3/4 to get negative 2/9. Number 5, punch it in your calculator as it's written. Number 6, took a little reading and paying attention. The question says that negative 1/2 divided by 41/15 equals 15/82. And that is true. If you punch that in the calculator, that's what you get. But it says which process is the one to follow. So you just have to do each of them to see which one gets you to 15/82. If you follow the steps, the first one says negative 1/2 divided by negative 15, and then divided by 41. You get that number. Number 2 is the one that actually works. Number 3, C and D do not work either. It's really one of those type of questions. Be prepared for that. Number 7, which expression is a positive value? Solve each one. Which one actually answers a positive answer? Not a hard question. Number 8, the trick with number 8 was if you punched it in the calculator, you'd get negative 1.5238, blah, blah, blah. You then need to convert that into a fraction by using the second PRB button. You get this as an answer, but that's not a choice. So you just need to figure out which one of those has a value of that, and it's B. Number 9, do this step first. 3.5 minus 9 3/4, and you get negative 6 1/4. Divide that by negative 2/5, and you get 2/5. It's cut and dry. Number 10, 4 minus negative 7 equals 11. If you punch that in the calculator, you get 11. Which one of these equals 11? Come on, guys, think about it. This question is saying you start at 0 points, you lose 3.5, which is minus. Then you win 28.5. So you add 28.5 and then lose 3.5 again. When all said and done, you end up with 21.5 points. This one's very cut and dry. Punch it in the calculator and you get negative 5. Number 13, maybe do the parentheses first. 2 plus 1/3 is 2 1/3. And when something is directly next to something, you multiply it. So it'd be 3/8 times 2 1/3, and then just add it all. Or you literally could punch this in exactly as it's written into the calculator, and you'd get 5/8. This question is talking about in 1 week, the hose leaks, which means it loses, which it's negative 6.3 liters of water. What's the average for 1 day? So there's 7 days in a week. Divide that by 7 and you get negative 0.9. Now this one's a tricky one, but we've done this type of question multiple times. You have a whole piece of quilt, which is 9 1/8 inches long. You want to cut it into 5 equal pieces. At the end, there's a piece that's 2 1/4 inches long left. So you subtract the leftover first. Then you take what's left and divide that by 5, and you get 3 3/8. This one's very simple, it's cut and dry. You decrease by 1/2, subtract 1/2. Increase, add, decrease, subtract. Punch it in, negative 1/8. talking about a day of school is 7 3/5 hours long. Take away your lunch and take away travel time, switching classes, and you're left with 6 2/5. Divide that by 6 and you get your per class. Which number sentence is true? If you punch these in, only one of them actually equals each other, because a negative divided by a positive is the same as a positive divided by a negative. This does not simplify. A negative 9/10 is not the same as 9/10, and 6/8 is not the same as negative 3/4. Cut and dry. Punch it in, get your answer. Another one, if you were to just punch this in the calculator, you'd get the answer. This one, you have a stack of paper that's 17 3/4 inch high. Then every week it raises up 8 7/12 inches. Take that question, multiply that times 3, and then add that to the 17 3/4 and you get 43 1/2. This one is, how would you punch this in the calculator? First, you would take 1/2 and divide it by negative 2/5, and you'd get negative 1 1/4, and then add it to 1/4, and you'd get negative 1 1/2. Just cut and dry. This one was a little bit of a wordy question, but it's still saying that tip of the rod is 53 3/4 feet above the water. So up here to the tip of the rod is 53 3/4. The fish, or the hook, is 12 2/3 feet down. This guy says that the distance is less than 65 feet. So if you add those together, for the total distance, it's 66 5/12 feet long, which it's longer. It's not that long. Then the other trick, the second part of this, is you have to add 10 inches. If you add 10 inches, well, 12 inches is 1 foot. So you do 10/12, so it's 10 inches out of 1 foot. Add it to the 5/12, and you get 67 3/12, or 67 1/4. This one about the temperature, saying that on an average part of the day per hour, it dropped negative 4.17. So for 24 hours, you'd multiply times 24, and you'd get 100.08, or just negative 100 degrees. Talking about Jamal stands on a dock 1.5 meters above the water, and the fish swims 4.8 feet below him. How far deep is the fish? Well, if he's 1.5 up, you have to take that distance and difference away. You subtract them, and you get 3.3. Go over here. This one's a little tricky. So Jamal is, or Anita is 42.5 feet below Jared, but Steph is 67 3/4 above Anita. So the distance difference is 25 1/4 feet. So Jared is 25 feet below Stephanie. Then we go to this question. I actually like this question. Talking about guy hiking the top of the hill to the bottom of the valley. So he's 27.5 feet up from the mountain, and the bottom of the valley is 52.5 feet down. But remember, distance is always positive. So if you add those together, it's 180 feet. And it's saying that he stopped exactly halfway. Halfway is 90 feet. But it's not 90 feet up, it's 90 feet from the top. So 27.5 minus 90 is 37.5. At midnight, the temperature is negative 3.8. The wind chill makes it feel 5.6 degrees colder, so it's going to be lower. So negative 3.8 minus 5.6 is 9.4. And the last question, 1 1/4 pounds times 4.25 is 531. 1 1/4 times 258 is 356. And it says, how much more? Well, it's $1.75 more. Good luck on your test tomorrow.